I certainly hope for the best during this visit from John Kerry, but I think his time to help with the peace has passed.
U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry arrived in Israel today. Both Kerry and the United Nations chief Ban Ki-moon are in the region trying to broker a new truce between Israel and Hamas. Hundreds of people, including civilians, terrorists, and Israeli soldiers, have been killed in the recent round of violence that began earlier this month. Claire Lopez is with the Center for Security Policy, joins us now from Washington. Claire, I want to get your reaction, first of all, to John Kerry being there on the ground. It's clear that Israel isn't necessarily welcoming him with open arms, with some Israeli officials saying Hamas is nowhere close to a ceasefire agreement. So really, what's he trying to do? Your thoughts?
Well, I think he is there trying to broker a ceasefire agreement, but as with past engagements between Israel and Hamas, Israel needs to be left alone to finish the job. What they're finding, of course, are dozens and dozens of tunnels dug between Gaza and Israel through which terrorists and explosives and weapons have passed.
Right.
And they need to finish cleaning those up first.
Moreover, how do you broker a ceasefire agreement, arrange for a ceasefire agreement without actually handling and dealing with those tunnels?
I don't know. Those tunnels must be destroyed before the end of this engagement. This is the entire reason why Israel has gone into Gaza and with ground troops, boots on the ground this time. This cannot be done from the air. They need to be able to be sure that the tunnels are destroyed so that nearby Israeli towns and cities really across Israel can be secure.
Now, John Kerry, he's meeting with Benjamin Netanyahu. He's also meeting with the boss of Fatah, but he isn't meeting with anyone from Hamas, obviously. Fatah clearly has no influence over Hamas. So again, it just goes back to this question is, what does he actually hope to accomplish here?
You know, it seems to be more action for action's sake. Obviously, no, he's not going to be speaking to Hamas. Hamas leadership, Khalid Mashal in Qatar and Ismail Haniyeh in some tunnel underneath Gaza City someplace, are in no mood to negotiate a ceasefire. And they are not going to be speaking with Secretary of State Kerry. And you're right. I mean, the Palestinian Authority really has no influence whatsoever over the Hamas terrorist leadership in Gaza.
Now, can you talk to me very specifically about why these tunnels are so dangerous?
Well, the tunnels extend from Gaza underneath the border between Gaza and Israel, and they come up in places close to Israeli towns and cities, underneath schools and kindergartens. They found them, and they're used for the purpose of conveying terrorists. They're used for the purpose of bringing through weapons, explosives. They are used as a means of access to get closer to Israeli towns and cities and kibbutzim for attack purposes, but they're also intended for surprise terrorist ability to access, to rise up above the ground close to Israeli IDF defense forces, and they are seeking to kidnap, as we know, more IDF soldiers. So that's another purpose for them.
Now, can you speak to me sort of about a lot of people saying that U.S.-Israeli relations, though they're strong, are deteriorating right now, of course, with Kerry sort of palling around with Ban Ki-moon, who's calling for Israel to show restraint. What do you think?
Well, you know, I think that among the American people, and certainly in the U.S. Congress, our representatives, there is overwhelmingly strong support for Israel and its right to live as a Jewish state within secure boundaries. At the leadership level, at the President, the White House, and the Secretary of State level, it is perceived at least that there is more of an effort on that side to communicate with Hamas, to find a way to stop the fighting, to use the United Nations, you know, whereas you say the Secretary General Ban Ki-moon is also trying to broker a ceasefire. But this would be to stop Israel before it was able to finish the job, really, of destroying these tunnels, which are so threatening. And of course, as we've seen, you know, the rockets and missiles they're using now have a range beyond anything they've ever seen before, reaching way to the north of Israel.
Claire,
So
they
have to be taken care of.
I have about 30 seconds left. Just very quickly, how does this end?
I think it ends when Israel finishes destroying the tunnels, when Israel is satisfied that those tunnels, those weapons within them, the rockets, the missiles, and Hamas, no longer pose a threat to Israeli citizens in cities across Israel.
Claire, thank you so much for being here.